Hey everybody, welcome to Mass Media Galaxy. I'm Eric.
And I'm Brandon, and we just suffered through Independence Day Resurgence,
Yep.
a sequel that nobody wanted, a sequel that nobody cared about, and a sequel that fails on every single level.
Yeah. Well, Independence Day came earlier this year, and like as always, it gave excuses as to its partner why it failed to give him a load. So, did you have any expectations for this movie?
Actually, my expectations were pretty low. You're looking at a 20-year-old sequel, kind of like Zoolander, where it's like, all right, well, I don't care about this property anymore. But I remembered Independence Day and how much I liked it, and then we go and see it. But I figured, set my expectations at a reasonable level. I figured this would be like a 1 out of a 10. What were you expecting to see?
Not much either. I don't like the first Independence Day. I liked it when I was a kid, when I was 7 when it came out. I've yet to like a Roland Emmerich film since, so I came in with zero expectations, and those weren't even met. Did you like anything about the movie?
No, actually, we talked about it on the way home. We talked about it. I can't even get words out right now. There's nothing about this movie I liked, with the exception of some of the score was okay, but I mean across the board, acting terrible, directing terrible, casting terrible, action terrible. The
Yeah.
script was nonsense. The plot was nonsense. None of it made any sense. It was completely convoluted. I absolutely hated this movie, and there's nothing I liked about it. Was there anything that you liked about the movie?
Uh, the action makes sense. You can tell what's going on, which, some action movies don't do that well these days, so it has that going for it. But yeah, other than that, yeah, like you said, terrible dialogue. The characters are so cliche that they should be called cliche occurs. The first 30 minutes of the movie, it has very cringe-worthy expository dialogue. Like you said before, terrible acting. You got Mini Thor here because he doesn't deserve a character's name. You got, Will Smith standing and fails on every level. Other people are in this, apparently. I don't know. It's just
Yeah.
bad.
Well, this is one of the most disappointing movies I've ever seen. You could have, what I said before, you could have redone the first movie just with bigger ships and a bigger threat, literally did the same beat by beat, and this movie could have been awesome. But they tried to overload it and make it all cool and complex, and it totally sucked ass because they didn't just make a straightforward kind of hero story. It was all this sci-fi stuff. And my biggest problem with the movie is the acts never ended. You didn't have an act 1 and an act 2 and an act 3 or act 4 or whatever it was. It was just kind of this fluid thing, and there was no build up. I mean, the movie started here and just stayed the entire time.
There's no narrative structure to this.
Yeah.
Just scenes dabbled together with no reason behind it. The only thing, one thing I do like about this is that the premise from the start is interesting. Like, what we've never really seen a movie that what happens after the Earth survives the alien invasion. Do we stay separate or do we unite? And we see what happens, not much of it, and it just falls apart.
Yeah, and that's what makes it hurt even worse and more inside. Is it's a cool sequel. It had a lot of potential. The premise, the trailers were pretty decent for this movie. The trailers weren't bad at all.
Not bad.
And they really didn't give away a lot of the plot in the trailer, but there wasn't any plot to give away. So it's not like you were looking at it going, "Oh, I saw this cool thing." But I mean, there were a lot of recycled action stuff from like earlier this year and the action movies from last year. Just
a lot of free tropes.
Like, oh my god, over and over again. So I just hated the last 2 hours of my life, and I'm not going to be able to get it back. So fuck you, Roland Emmerich, because I actually like 2012, but fuck this movie.
You have Bill Pullman playing the president again, and he gives a speech, another presidential speech, that comes right the hell out of nowhere, and it's so just half-assed. It's just, there's no effort to it whatsoever. It just say whatever you want, and they put it in the movie. That's it.
Yeah. So what I was going to say, this movie reminds me of an asylum film, like Transmorphers, or the actual asylum film, which I'm going to put the poster right here so you can see it, Independence Day. I think that movie was better than what we just saw. So this is a steaming pile of garbage. I'm just going to call it right now. I wouldn't recommend seeing this at the theater. I wouldn't recommend seeing this on Blu-ray. I wouldn't recommend seeing this on VOD. if this movie comes up on your television, I recommend that you shut it off immediately and turn on Price is Right, because you will be more excited by an episode and a 3-minute segment of a guy playing Plinko than you will with this movie. This movie sucked. Would you recommend this movie, Eric?
No, same as you. There are like some movies that are so bad that they're good.
Yeah.
This isn't one of them though. This movie is just so bad that it's insulting.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's not even so bad it's good. I'm gonna forget this movie eventually down the road, and that's one of the biggest faults of it. It's completely forgettable. And at the end of the movie, where they show you the lineup of the new cast, saying like, these are your heroes now. You're gonna follow them into the sequels, and I'm like, no thanks, I don't want to see that.
Please don't make any sequels for this movie, please. All right, go ahead and outro us.
Well, thanks for watching, everybody. Once again, I'm Eric.
I'm Brandon.
Remember to subscribe, like, comment, Twitter, us, follow. Next time, see ya.
Thank you.